All right, everyone. Welcome back to the fourth episode of the Puddle of Grunge podcast. How we doing today, Colby?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Couldn't be doing better, honestly. Today we got a large subject on our docket. We have got our favorite vocalists of the 90s. So we're just going to dive right into it. Who we got first?
All right, so first one on the docket. Gotta be Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell.
My man, Chris Cornell. So we got a big tapestry of Chris Cornell above us. He's always looking down on us. Where do you even start with Chris Cornell, man? I mean, just him as a vocalist and as a lyricist as well, and then just as a person in general, just such a great character all around.
I absolutely agree. I kind of look back, and like when you look back on everything that Chris Cornell has done, like the way, just such an amazing songwriter, as well as just an untouchable vocalist. It's like how much of a force he was in the creative realm.
And like by untouchable, it's like untouchable. There's really, I mean, they say it all the time. No one sings like Chris Cornell anymore, and it's so true because just the way that he approached singing with the power that he did, and just the soul in his voice just completely changed the dynamic of the music. The Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog,
Solo stuff.
I mean, Audio Slave as well. I mean, the dude was just everywhere, constantly, just a creative powerhouse, really, just in the zone all the time.
Yeah, and of course, with his voice is just so multi-dimensional.
It's iconic too. His voice is just iconic.
So iconic. It's just, you can go from something like the end of Say Hello to Heaven. He's wailing like a banshee. Not in a bad way. Like just putting so much grit and like emphasis behind what he's saying. But really, it's like it's not that hard for him.
It's not. I mean, he just makes it. I think that's also the other thing is he just makes it look so easy. Like videos that you see of him just taking a power stance and just belting out a note is just so impressive. And the fact that he was able to do it night after night. I mean, obviously there's off nights, but for the most part, Chris Cornell was always on his game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just like all the amazing covers he's done.
Oh yeah, true. Shit.
Like just over different talk shows and just different live performances in general. Like his voice could like transform between whatever style he had to do.
Oh yeah, so many different
his beautiful cover of Thank You.
Oh my god.
That's one of my favorite. That was done on Howard Stern.
Oh man.
Just so unbelievable.
And raw. It's just raw. I love it just because the way that he approaches it. It's Robert Plant singing originally, so it's got a little bit of bluesiness to it, and Chris Cornell has that bluesiness in his voice, but I feel like he lays back on it though and kind of brings a new meaning. It's just more somber in the way that he sings it. It's
man, his lyrics are just so like vivid.
As
well. Like they're like you just get so caught up in his voice, just like the things that he's saying. Kind of so deep.
Yeah, and sometimes they just kind of fly past you, like, and kind of being on the spot. Can't really think of many lyrics. I mean, follow me into the desert, as thirsty as you are.
Just print anything from Burden in My Hand.
Oh, dude, such a great song. I feel like as well, like his writing just goes up notches as they progressed as a band. Like, you got stuff from like Loud Love, which is, I mean, lyrically the content is still great, but it's not anything compared to like Down on the Upside and Super Unknown lyrically. Yeah, man, Chris Cornell was just absolute, just one of a kind. Seriously.
Yeah, for real. And his vocal style is so iconic, and as he like got older, he always pretty much sang with like a little bit of rasp.
Yeah.
That's just kind of probably from all of his high vocals that he used to do.
Yeah.
But there's this beautiful cover, one of his solo songs, When I'm Down. Mm-hmm. He did live at the Troubadour. It's like unbelievable because it's like a very kind of I wouldn't say R&B, but it's only piano, and that's the way he said it wanted to be done, or that it should have been done, and his voice just like fits that style so perfectly.
I feel like his voice could fit any style. That's the thing. Like he could sing in any style and make it sound great.
Yeah, he could practically croon. He could croon. He could scream. He could
do anything. Like just the fact that he started out as a drummer too. Wasn't he a singer in the first place? And then how do you
ridiculous.
like? Could you just imagine you're in the shower one day and you just find out you just belt like that?
You have pipes.
Just absolute pipes. I couldn't even, like, what do you do in that situation? Just, man, I'm putting down the sticks, bro. I'm lead singer now.
I'm stepping to the front. Yeah, and I think he kind of had like a weird. No, I don't know if he had a weird thing about it, but he never thought about it before.
Yeah.
To take the front and center, but really, Chris Cornell is just unbelievable. Even among like not even just grunge, rock singers in general.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like he is up there with Freddie Mercury. Is probably one of the greatest rock singers of all time. And I mean that's not stating lightly, bro. We are big Queen fans, so
I love Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I would definitely put him up there in.
He's a top 10, no doubt.
No doubt, like, easily. And if you leave him off your top 10,
genres.
I mean, he's probably in my top 5 personally. Mm-hmm. But if you leave him off at least a top 10, you're crazy. In my personal opinion.
Yeah, of course, everybody has their preference, but to me, Chris Cornell's voice is just perfect, and
angelic.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah. So, one of Chris Cornell's best friends from the era was in like the little project with them, Temple of the Dog. Obviously, you guys know him. Eddie Vedder is who we're going to be talking about next. So, Eddie is one of my favorite voices from the era. There's just something to his voice, the grit and the cadence that he uses when he sings. And when you watch him on stage, just his mouth movements that he does as well to kind of form his sounds, really just, I don't know, they're just interesting to watch, and the way that he approaches singing is just really interesting.
He really just lets his face morph into what his voice is conveying.
Yeah.
Because when on the Unplugged, when he's singing Black, like his eyes roll into the back of his head. He just lets the music flow through him.
Oh, it's so awesome.
It's
dude.
like beautiful to see that, and just like he has such power in his vocal. It's all like, I don't know, maybe very throaty.
Yeah, I mean he has a gravel to his voice, but it's not like not something that you'd be like, ugh, turn this off. It's like, man, it's just
gravel is what makes some voices great.
Yeah, I mean, it makes his voice great. He has that grit, that gravel to his voice. That kind of just, I don't know, it changes the way that the songs, because a lot of their songs kind of have not necessarily upbeat chord progressions / like riffs, but a lot of them they just fit Eddie's voice perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that there's any other way that Eddie, I mean, he could be in another band, obviously, but it just would not sound the same if he was not with Pearl Jam.
Yeah, they perfectly back him up on whatever he's doing vocally.
And I love it because they just have so much confidence in him. That's what it is. Like, they just have so much confidence in him to like let him take it where it needs to go and do his thing, while they're just backing him up perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just trying to think. I was just like thinking of their music, but like as far or as like as strong as his vocals can go, then you just pull them right back.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of his singing is from like the low throat.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he can go up high. I mean, once again, bringing up Black on the Unplugged, but like going into that second verse that he does when he takes it up high and then brings it back down and controls it so well. His vocal control is so great. That's also something that I just admire about Eddie. And then, coming back to singing after climbing a stage and shit and just going crazy on stage, keeping his breath, keeping his composure, and then, going back into like what, even flow probably.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. So it's just the man could do it all, really, and he's still doing it at a high level, like every night, bro. It's crazy. He man, I love Eddie. His voice was really the one that first got me into grunge and got me listening to 90s music, and it's just so not nostalgic, but his voice captivates me, really.
It's hard not to, or it's hard for it not to. It's so iconic, and it's even like kind of turned into a bit of a meme.
Yeah.
Just the way that that it's
sings.
unintelligible.
Yeah.
And,
Sometimes it's unintelligible.
Especially Yellow Ledbetter.
Yellow Ledbetter is a prime example. It's one of the best examples that people give of Eddie's unintelligible lyrics. Sometimes, but and then once you go into like actually what he's writing about too, it's just he's a great lyricist as well. All the singer-songwriters from the 90s were just phenomenal lyricists as well.
I know someday you'll have a beautiful life. I know you'll be a star in somebody else's sky.
But why can't it be mine, bro?
Why can't it be mine? That's
my God.
Yeah, there's so much depth to that lyric. And again, both of these first two singers they're multi-dimensional. I said that before. But like they can sing. They both have incredible ranges.
Yeah, I mean,
both of them are naturally baritones. I'm very sure.
And then going back to Chris, you got him going up. I don't even know what was his vocal range.
Oh, I think it was 4. I think it was
four octaves. That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Because he could sing low, then they could fly. Both could fly.
And yeah, even on Eddie's like solo stuff, he raises his pitch of his voice a lot and sings in a higher pitch. Especially now since he's gotten older, his voice has deepened a lot. And I think it just adds an extra depth to their music as well. They've kind of adapted to it. Yeah, they've adapted to their sound well, like their new era sound of Pearl Jam. It's good, but I wish we could have seen them live. I wish we could have seen them live. Man.
Yeah, the place that we were going to see them, something had happened, so we weren't able to see them. So, yeah. Really stinks, but we would have loved to see him live. And Eddie is just so
awesome.
Iconic, just a phenomenal vocalist, and he could adapt, he could harmonize with people as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he's on the Temple of the Dog albums as well. Like he's harmonizing with Chris on "Say Hello to Heaven" on some of the songs in live versions.
I think it's just Hunger Strike.
No, he does. He harmonizes with them on It's in the Live at the Moore performance of "Say Hello to Heaven." Yeah.
Oh yes, he is sitting back.
He's
there.
in the back.
Okay,
yeah.
You're right. Maybe not in the studio,
but he does on "Hunger Strike" too. Yeah.
Going hungry.
And that's just an iconic '90s song as well. "Hunger Strike." That's just a collaboration of some of the best musicians in the area, in Seattle, just wailing, bro.
I don't mind stealing bread
from the mouths of decadence.
Oh.
Man. So Eddie Vedder. Just one of my all-time favorite grunge alternative voices. I feel like he exemplifies the word grunge in his voice.
Absolutely.
So
going to another one. So
our next singer that we're going to go into is one that passed away recently. Kind of an overlooked, underappreciated singer in a lot of people's eyes. I personally agree.
But then the people that know him,
just
no. He is just absolutely phenomenal.
So the next singer that's on our list is Mr. Mark Lanigan. So
Mark Lanigan.
Shit, man. Where do you even start with Mark?
First of all, again, such an iconic voice. All three of these singers have such iconic voices. Mark.
You just know
very
his
raspy.
voice. Yes, that's it. You just know his voice. I feel like a lot of people, when they think of like the 90s, a lot of people get like Scott Weiland and Eddie mixed up, like especially on Core and 10 or whatever. But
In all honesty, let's talk about it a little bit. I've never seen that comparison that well to me.
Yeah,
I don't really get it.
I haven't either, but yeah, we'll talk about that though. So yeah, just Mark Lanigan, man. I haven't really gotten into a lot of the Trees older stuff.
Neither have I. I've kind of really only listened to Sweet Oblivion
and Dust. I've listened to, which is great, but he just has that aspect to his voice that kind of, it's like a warming rasp. It just draws you in personally, and whenever I can't remember when I first heard Nearly Lost You, but I just like, sometimes I just get in a little fit with that song, and I just have to listen to it like 20 times in a row because it's just so damn good.
It's such a strong track.
It's so awesome, dude. I love that song so much. And then, the first 5 to 6 songs of Sweet Oblivion are so great as well. I mean, I can't remember if Troubled Times is off the first 5 or 6, but you got Dollar Bill, More or Less, Shadow of the Season, Nearly Lost You on there. Like, all just great songs that he showcases his voice so well in those songs too.
I mean, Dollar Bill, it's just like he's opening up, and you can see his
soul.
Just see his soul. Man. I also just love it when Mark Lanigan says, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah.
Like at the end of it, Nearly Lost. Oh yeah. When he does that, he could do those little ad libs. I bet you, Mark Lanigan also a baritone.
Oh yeah.
His voice was definitely like lower.
I think he said that. I listened to his audiobook, and if you guys ever want something to listen to his audiobook and listen to it, because he reads it and it just adds to the experience so much. But I think he said that he is a baritone in his audiobook, but just like listening to that as well, I just gained so much respect for him and just the way that he just approached life. Just such a, I don't give a shit what you think about me, like kind of deal. And I don't know, I just kind of respect the hell out of that. Like, he had off days for sure. Like the one performance where he had stomach acid coming up into his throat.
That was on Jay Leno.
Yeah, I think it was Dollar Bill. Yeah, or the one performance when they had a bar fight the night before on Letterman. And
Steve Ferroni.
Tom Petty in the back.
Drummer.
Tom Petty in the back.
I don't know if it was Tom Petty. It looks so much like him with the blonde hair.
I don't know. But
love Tom Petty.
Love Tom Petty. But I don't know. He could just always pull it off. Always just found a way to get through.
He pushed through just so much, adversity, and just with this stuff in his personal life.
Yeah, and that's like, after listening to that book, it's like hearing all the shit that he had to go through as well. Like, just pushing through that and the way that he was able to get through it, and it's just inspirational, really. And then struggling with all the mental health issues and everything, addiction. I mean, some of the stories in that book are dark, man. Like, if you get the chance to listen to it, it gets pretty dark at times. But yeah, Mark Lanigan, just a beautiful soul. Just one of my favorites. Getting into more, especially now, I've started listening a lot more to his, especially solo stuff. But yeah, Mark Lanigan, just absolutely one of the best. Rest in peace. Missed dearly, for real. But who are we talking about next, Colby?
Well, I'd say for the next one, we're going to talk about none other than Kurt Cobain.
Yes, sir. All right, so we're kind of going rapid fire on these. If you guys haven't,
these are very off the cuff.
Yeah,
this round.
It's current. I don't know what time it is. Probably like
11 something. 10:58.
It's 11. So we're doing this late night recording for y'all. But yeah, Kurt Cobain.
For y'alls.
Kurt Cobain, yo. What do we say?
Hill, y'all. Kurt, the voice of grunge, if you may.
Just yeah.
He's been labeled probably the voice of grunge.
He would hate that label, probably. I'm not gonna speak for him, but
yeah, I'm not no opinion on that.
no opinion.
But I think when most people think grunge, they think Kurt.
The intro to Smells Like Teen Spirit. And that's what they think.
Kurt's voice is just so.
Once again, iconic.
It is. It's just. He could go from just like almost a whisper, like on Something in the Way, to Stay Away.
To a straight up scream, like on the last chorus of Lounge Act.
Mm-hmm.
Just always blowing.
And or Drain You scream.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it really sucks that he definitely damaged his vocal cords, just the way that he sang, and obviously did not have proper technique, but it doesn't matter because that's just the way that he wanted to sing. I love that.
I've seen a lot of like clips with Butch Vig,
Mm-hmm.
and he always say like after they blow his vocals out, so then they had to wait probably until, but just Kurt, and also there's just so much emotion.
Oh yeah,
in his voice.
Yeah, and his lyrics too. I mean,
oh yeah,
can't even understate that. Especially like you look at something like the Unplugged on Where Did You Sleep Last Night. The emotion that goes into that final performance. I mean, they asked him if they would do an encore, and he said no because they can't top that last song. And it's so true. Like you cannot top ending on that final scream,
Shiver.
that final breath that he takes. Just there's nothing like it, really. It's just one of the most iconic moments in my mind.
I just me even thinking about the moment. It's probably the most intense moment.
Yeah.
From an Unplugged, just like his
eyes opening wide and then just
through.
Man.
This.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps. Like every time I
gotta chill down my spine.
Yeah. Every time I watch it, it gives me goosebumps. But then like you'll get stuff on like In Utero, and there's so much more vocal layering that wasn't necessarily on Nevermind as much. I mean, I know they layered vocals on Nevermind because you got Dave Grohl doing like high harmonies on In Bloom.
Yeah.
But I feel like the vocals are layered more on In Utero. I feel like there's a different, because I mean, how do you follow up Nevermind? You make In Utero. That's I mean,
a great way of saying that.
I mean, there's really no other way to put it.
But like song like Heart Shaped Box. Why do I keep putting a T at the end of box?
Boxed.
Heart Shaped Box. The verse parts in that song, very like relaxed vocal delivery. Then wait, and then they jump.
The classic Kurt.
There was so much loud, soft dynamic.
Yes, that's something that because a lot of, I feel like some artists in this era kind of go straight for the hard, straight at you vocals, but Kurt like always kind of laid it back a little bit in the beginning and then just brings it up a notch after that, and it's just so recognizable. His voice is just so iconic. The voice of a generation, really.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it just makes you wonder like what could have been.
How many more Nirvana albums we would have got?
Probably not.
But those three, man, are they strong?
Yeah. Hella strong, dude. And then you got the Unplugged in there, which is a great Unplugged. I mean, The Man Who Sold the World is one of the best Unplugged performances ever. Man.
Yeah, I absolutely love that cover. David Bowie's is so strong as it is the original, but it's one of those rare moments where I think I like the cover more, but
yeah,
gosh, David Bowie is unbelievable too. But yeah, Kurt, the voice of a generation, as you said.
Yeah.
But I think we'll go on to the next one, which this is Ryan's personal favorite. We're gonna be doing Lane Staley. Once again to see you. All right, I told him let him gush, so get talking.
I love Lane Staley, bro. So I don't know where it starts. Like the fact that he's like 130-pound man, just you could feel the ground shake when he sing, bro. Like that's just crazy. You could feel his voice in the ground. That's just insane how powerful he was able to project his voice. And just the way that he carries himself on stage as well, like interacting with the crowd and
very authoritative.
yes, has such a
in some
powerful
ways.
stance all the time. And then kind of in those softer moments makes himself more vulnerable. Like, man, there's just so much to love about Lane.
I agree.
I
Just like his, from his softs to his straight out belts, he's kind of almost untouchable
oh yeah,
in a way. We always kind of have this clarification where when we talk about, we both just absolutely love Lane's voice, and we say he's the best grunge singer,
yeah.
but we kind of agree that Cornell is the best singer.
I think
from the 90s.
I think that Lane is the best grunge singer because Alice in Chains is kind of their own sound. It's like a combination of sludge metal and blues and heavy metal and acoustic and just so many different things, but I think Lane just ties it all together and kind of gives them their own sound. I think that's why I love his voice so much, is because it's so unique and it's impossible to sing like him. You can't really, I mean, people can get close, but you're not doing your vocal cords any justice by trying to belt like Lane Staley. It's just not, it's not in the cards.
It's not a fun thing to do.
No, it's not.
Especially if you're doing Man on the Box.
Yeah. The last chorus on Man in the Box, bro, when he goes up again.
When he stays.
It's just, but in some performances he goes up, which is even crazier. I don't know what his vocal range is, but just, oh man.
Like just even through Tripod Era, he could still really hit those
Yeah, even
notes.
even in his, and talk about the Unplugged a little bit. 1996, they're on kind of their last leg. I mean, they don't know that at the time, obviously. But yeah, because I think they go into the studio in like 96 and record a couple more songs, Died and Get Born Again. But then Lane goes on like a 6-year hiatus before his death. So, but the Unplugged, man, it's just coming back. They didn't perform for what, 3 years before the Unplugged, something like that.
Sounds right.
3 years before the Unplugged, and then coming back, and that's like the first show they did. Just knock it out of the park, man. Everything about that is just a perfect vocal delivery from Lane. Even in the part where he messes up on Sludge Factory, and I've always been a Sludge Factory Unplugged over Sludge Factory album. The album version has grown on me a lot, but there's just something about the Unplugged, the way that he hits that. It's so perfect. It works so well, and I just think there's no one like Lane Staley. And once again, like the Unplugged on Nutshell, even when he comes in as, he's just a frail looking guy coming in, but he still has that presence. He still draws the audience's attention and as soon as he sits down, starts singing, going into one of the greatest songs ever written. Just, man, let me gush, bro. Let me gush. I love it.
Yeah, Lane is just vocally like perfect. There's so much to, like you say, to gush about when it comes to Lane. Just his range is unbelievable. His vocal strength is just, his voice was so consistent.
Yes.
Throughout all the albums too. Like it didn't really change for the most part, except for maybe Tripod.
Just because that's a stage in like his, he's losing teeth and stuff. I mean, you can tell on some of the songs, especially, that he's in decline, sadly, but still just delivering greatness. Even in their last performance at Kemper Arena, I think.
Yep.
In 1996, it's on Sludge Factory. They do Sludge Factory. There's a video on YouTube. I'll try to link it if I can. But he's still just hitting it so perfectly. Even in that kind of the last days of Alice in Chains as a band, performing together at least, and just I love Lane. My favorite grunge singer, easily.
Lane's your favorite vocalist. Jerry's your favorite guitarist.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
just, but yeah.
And I mean, they're just a
it.
dynamic duo, though. That's the thing.
Right.
Like combined together. I mean, you can't talk about Lane singing without talking about Jerry backing him up with those harmonies.
I think we should maybe do him in another episode because he's so special in that regard, and their voices combined is just
beautiful.
Beautiful and just such an iconic mixture of voices. As we said, it's like it almost shouldn't work.
Yeah,
but it works.
But it works so fucking well. Sorry.
But
yeah, man, Lane Staley, just one of my absolute favorites. My favorite, actually. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say about Lane. I can gush a little more another day. But who we got next, Colby? Who we got last?
Yeah. All right. So last, this is really, we have not mentioned this man. I think hardly at all. I don't think we've said his name almost.
I don't know. I don't know.
I almost don't think we have. And this is the part where both of us can gush on this. Mr. Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots.
Woo! Mr.
Let's go.
Scott Weiland, baby.
Let's go.
Time to take her over.
We both say, oh my gosh.
You start it, man. You start this.
Scott is my personal favorite grunge 90s alternative singer, just for the fact that he can show so much strength, but they can pull it back and do these beautiful soaring vocals. Like on the song Wonderful, that's one of his strongest vocal performances.
Bro.
Just not just one of his, just one of the strongest vocal performances I've ever heard in my life.
It's so moving. Like literally, it's made me cry. I'm
not laughing at you for that.
I mean, it's just.
It is so beautiful.
I feel like, and he's capable of doing that so often. Like especially like on kitchenware and candy bars, something like that. So simple, so out of pocket for what the rest of Purple is, and then just delivering that last what I wanted. So beautiful, dude. And his voice just, I think it aged like fine wine, really.
As he got older.
Yes, and as he got raspier, smoked more cigarettes, it's just, oh, dude, Scott.
And just like, him being able to even do like the crooning stuff when he was doing the Christmas cover. Like,
that's another thing, bro. Like he has his own blues album.
We can say this now. Scott is a vocal chameleon.
Yes.
He could do everything. He maybe not as much in the screaming realm, but his belts are still there. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but he has some very strong vocals.
I mean, he does it on Piece of Pie.
Yeah, that part.
I mean,
or the whole chorus on Piece of Pie is kind of about.
I mean, even on the whole chorus to like Dead and Bloated as well is kind of.
I am smelling like
just like I don't know, his presence is just energizing. He has such an energizing presence about him, especially on stage, man. No one like Scott Weiland on stage.
I would say probably the most pure showman and frontman of the 90s grunge.
Oh, easily.
Eddie may be a close second. All of them are great.
Oh yeah, all great frontmen. And that's something that can't be understated about this era of music, is every frontman is so great.
I feel like there's a lot of like 70s glam that was kind of like T-Rex and all those
Bowie.
bands. What?
Bowie.
Yeah, they were. I think they influenced quite a lot of them, but mostly Scott.
Oh yeah,
I think Scott was.
And it's so.
I know for sure David Bowie, but
yeah,
T-Rex I know is also very influential.
Probably Freddie Mercury as well. Elton John, obviously, and Scott's songwriting as well still remains as one of my favorite songs of all time, and that is just one of the most masterfully written pieces of music ever, in my opinion. Just the most pure love song. I know. one of the most pure love songs ever. It's so great, so fun to sing along to, and then you look at the lyrics and they're just straight from the soul, just speaking volumes about who Scott is as a person.
I'll drink the water that you leave.
Take a bath, I'll drink the water that you leave. If you should die before me, ask if you can bring a friend. Like, that's just one of my favorite lyrics ever. So impactful. That's a lot of Scott's lyrics are just impactful. But then you got other ones that like just stream of consciousness writing, like the lyrics on Trippin'. Don't cut out my paper.
I breathe your life, Vic's Vapor's life, or Vic's.
Old Lead Belly sings the blues, all dressed up on wedding day. Keep on tripping anyway. Like, just this, like this. So that's what he was also so good at, is just stream of consciousness writing. Because wasn't Dead and Bloated just stream of consciousness as well?
I'm not sure.
I think Dead and Bloated is just stream of consciousness writing. That's why a lot of it doesn't make sense. But I feel like he's also great at finding a metaphor for everything. You know, like flies in the Vaseline. I think Loungefly is a metaphor for something as well.
I can't give but what I take away.
Just a lot of just, I would say, introspective lyrics about who he is as a person and how he saw himself, how he carries himself. What are the best things about Scott?
Absolutely. Gosh. There's so many good things to say about Scott, as well as pretty much all the grunge singers. But he's just my personal favorite voice. It's more because I just love STP as just a group in general. I don't know what I was trying to say, but I'm just like, they're all so strong that like if they even were to do like a solo thing, still. I'm just saying, like, they're strong enough. All of them are such creative forces that they.
I mean, and Rob has solo work.
So many
Scott had solo work.
12-bar
I think Eric has his own work as well. So does Dean. So I mean, they all do solo stuff as well, and it sounds good. They're just pure musicians. Scott was, I mean, not necessarily musically inclined, but he was musically inclined.
He had a music brain,
music mind, just functioned musically. I mean, the intro to Dead and Bloated, he made on a table.
He mouthed it. Well, like, yeah, he just did like the.
Oh man, that's so sick. This one of the coolest riffs.
It's so unique.
I feel like his voice is just followed so well by the other guys in the band.
Normally it's Rob doing backing vocals with him. Like,
yes.
The backing vocals on, and just the vocals in general on Interstate Love song. God, isn't that like the most perfect song from the 90s in the world?
Oh, it's so good, dude. I could gush over Interstate all day.
I love that song, dude.
I mean, we post it every Sunday for a reason. It's just a feel good song. It just makes you feel so good.
You say it makes you want to roll down the windows and
makes you roll down the windows, take a drive.
Oh my gosh,
hair blowing in the wind, bro. On a sunny day. And I just imagine Interstate Love Song playing on the radio, crackling a little bit on the radio, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. That it just gives me a nostalgic feeling. I don't know why. I wasn't alive during that time. It shouldn't give me a nostalgic feeling, but it just does. I think
it just gives you dopamine.
Yeah, I think it's just a dopamine hit. Interstate Love Song is just a massive dopamine hit.
Way down on a Sunday afternoon.
So beautiful. Wanna just Scott Weiland, everyone.
It's like literally all of these singers practically get their own episode.
Oh, we will probably go back and do it.
Because I mean, Lane, there's so much more you can dive in with Lane.
Yeah.
Chris, literally all of them.
Yeah, I mean,
of course, some of them we take a stronger
bias
towards,
to,
like Lane and Chris and not all of them. I don't know.
Scott, but. Yeah, we could definitely do episodes just solely on them, kind of deep dive into vocals, listen to some of their craziest vocal lines and stuff. I mean, we didn't even talk about Slaves and Bulldozers, so. But
that's a song that got him the Audio Slave gig, I've heard.
I believe it. But I mean, we didn't even talk about Love Hate Love at the More either, so. But anyways, back to Scott. Anything else you want to add for Mr. Weiland? Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Man, I'm so sad. We never got to see him live, sadly. It's just something I wish that we
were just too late to the party.
Too late to the party. Sadly. Only a year or two too late, but it's just one of the greatest musical minds ever. Was still creating good music, and stuff he did with SDP is just legendary rock and roll to straight ballads. And he could do it all, really. So
just in those first 5 albums that they made, or for the longest time we were both just like first 3 albums.
Yeah, but
SDP, but then number 4 grew on me. Shangri-La Da grew on me.
Man,
is there one in between there?
No, it's just
okay. Because
yeah,
I love Shangri-La Da.
It's so good.
That album,
there's so many bangers on there. There's so many good songs.
Days of the Week, Too Cool Queen,
Hollywood Bitch,
Coma.
God. I mean, Wonderful.
And Wonderful. Oh my! I can't even. It's like
there's no way out. There's no way out on there.
That's on
number 4. Yeah. So just continuing to make great music, even after so many albums. That's hard for a lot of bands to do, and they just do it so perfectly.
One quick thing, and that we can throw in with this is like, yeah, we're kind of discussing on SDP now in general, but just the ability for them to continue to innovate and change their sound. Like, how Core and Purple are so different.
Yeah.
So different.
Yeah,
and then you go to freaking Tiny Music.
Oh my God.
Like,
it's just that cultural shift, bro. It literally just switched everything.
So glam music, just inspired.
Avant-garde rock and roll, bro. It's so good.
There's so many beautiful melodic parts on Tiny Music as well.
There's just so many great
From Adhesive, 7 Cage Tigers, Daisy. That's such a beautiful track. Listen to that.
And So I Know.
That's so atmospheric. Right. Calm down.
So good.
So atmospheric. See.
We need a separate episode for SDP.
We can gush on SDP.
All right.
We can gush.
Bring it back. All right. Scott Weiland. Anything else you want to add?
No. Thank you for all that you've done, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Rest in peace.
We love you. Rest in peace. Everyone, this has been the Puddle of Grunge podcast. We are tired. We're going to go to bed. I'm Ryan.
I'm Colby.
Hope you all have a great night.
Peace out.